introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name is just Chris Seeger, the new senior planner at Ulster County Transportation Council. So I'm just got the invites, so I'm
Great, thank you.
gonna try to check in on all the meetings specifically, but I couldn't be downtown, so just online.
Thanks for joining us. Our apologies on being late. We got shifted to a new room, so it took us a little while to get set up in this room.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, that's how it goes. Okay, so I can bring up the agenda. Otherwise, we are live streaming, and there we go. So, all right.
Great, thanks.
Agenda.
Thanks everyone for joining and bearing with us. So let's see. The Transportation Grants update. I actually received an email from Engage Kingston that had a link to a PDF with updates on every grant the city is applying for. It was amazing reading it all. It was very exciting.
Yes. This
Not
is
sure if everyone else received that. I can link to it. Maybe even but yeah, it was very useful to read through it and see all of the grants the city is applying for and where they all are. There's an update as of this month and stuff.
what you got, I think, is the quarterly report that the grants department does to the common council. And what this is a specific report that UConn does just for you all.
Right.
But I believe that both documents should be the same information. I have not read this, but we can go through it together.
Sure.
And all the red ones are the updates. So it looks like for electrical vehicle charging stations, the stadium, grant originally for building safety, but location change. So it sounds like maybe they're going to do electrical vehicle charging at building safety, but now they're going to try to do it at Deep Stadium. That's cool. I didn't do that. Weaving the waterfront transportation project. Removed name of program because RAISE is now called Build. DOT had placed grant contract negotiation on hold in January, but moved forward with it in late August in final stages of execution at this time. So it sounds like that's slowly going forward. Just good news.
I've been working on it today, actually.
Anything else you want to tell us?
About, well, I got it. Yeah, I keep calling it RAISE. That's a good reminder for me to call it Build now.
Wasn't it Tiger?
Well, that's a previous,
iteration.
yeah, every Congress calls it something different. Yeah, I mean, yes, the feds kind of went silent on us. But they came back, they're still alive and still willing to give us a grant agreement. So we're negotiating that in a state local agreement for this. In fact, I'm going tonight to the common council for the bonding of the city's share for the design portion, which is a $2.4 million bond.
We didn't do a round of introductions. Do you want to say who you are?
I'm John Schultz, City.
Brandon Sense, board member. Paul Stankus, chair, streets.
Dave Goff, new guy. Ryan Jennings, also advisory council member.
Claudette Ford, advisory council member.
Chris already introduced himself. Emily Flynn, Director of Health and Wellness.
I sent you a link to that document, Emily. The one that was the quarterly update, and I feel like it did have some updates on projects we've talked about that are on here, like that Flatbush Foxhall. I felt like it had like.
You want me to open it?
Is that the PDF? Let's see. Oh yeah. Right. So then it's on the bottom right there.
This one?
Yeah, that should be.
Did you want me to go to Flatbush and Foxhall?
Yeah, I mean it's just an example of updates just on where the project stands. Like it was talking about the sewer, how that has to be done before they can do anything on the streets, and it was just stuff that I hadn't heard about. So I was just Yeah, I found it.
Yeah, I'm working on, that's another thing I have to do, so the common council recently approved, a little over $10 million bonding just for sewer and storm drainage work we're gonna do ahead of the streetscape project.
Which makes sense.
Yeah,
Is that for the entire length of, Foxhole?
nearly all of it. Yeah, it's Foxhall basically from Hasbrook to, Flatbush,
Up to the train track?
just to the tracks, yeah.
It's kind of hard to navigate.
Yeah, you search for it, maybe you can do it.
When I'm in Zoom, I can't see the search function. It's behind the Zoom
Oh.
menus. Just kind of a pain.
Well,
Streaming.
It's visible up on the TV.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'm sharing, but it. And it's sun, maybe this thing. Oh, there we go.
I know.
Yeah. So,
Or gave up.
okay. Is what you were thinking?
Yeah, so it's not really useful the way it broke down all the funding. And then if you scroll down, it has an update as of this month, like the status for all the projects. I was just reading through it, just being like, ooh, it's all so interesting.
Little beach read for you.
Yeah. So I was just happy to see that. It's right in tandem with our updates we get from Gene.
Would you like to still go back to the
Sure.
Dan?
Yeah, and I can send this around after the meeting just so everyone has it. Okay.
Thanks. Okay. This one. Okay, so reconnecting communities, configuring 9W, Kingston, maybe rescinded due to federal cuts. I think that's the one with Barclays for you. No new grant awards, pending congressionally directed spending via Senator Gillibrand and Schumer and Ryan, safe, accessible, Flatbush and Foxhall. So that must be part of your funding.
That's a request, yeah, pending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go Rail DOT, keeping on prospect list until further progress is made. To the real costings. CDGB entitlement funds, the request for restoration of sidewalks surrounding Academy Green was included in the final plan, which was submitted to HUD. It's still under review. It's unclear when or if funding will come through. That's unfortunate because the sidewalks around Academy Green are very much needed. Safe Streets for All, Stark County submitted an application to update their plan, which would include more specifics on Kingston. An updated plan would fulfill the program for a future City of Kingston Safe Streets for All application. Clean mobility, I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. This update just says for Kingston Bike Share Program, which was updated through Clean Mobility Planning. That's later. Hudson River Greenway Conservancy Trail Grant had considered application for trail wayfinding signage, but determined the city was not ready to apply for this round. I can answer any questions about that as well. I don't know what this one stands for. The fiscal year 25 WIIA. I don't know what that one is.
That's the sewer improvements. Yeah, we assume Water Infrastructure Improvement Act.
Right.
Yeah.
Any questions about all that?
Yeah, like I said, I'll send around the other document and it'll sort of tie in with all that stuff. It says a little bit more flesh out. Yeah, it's good.
John, just a question about the sewer upgrades.
Yeah.
Will the residents' lateral connections be upgraded as well, or just?
Yeah, generally they are, both the water and the sewer.
They'll be upgraded.
Yeah, a lot of we encounter lead
Yeah.
Sewer or lead, water laterals to replace those.
Okay.
Next on the agenda was the participatory, grant project update. I don't actually have much of an update, just to say that, a list of potential projects has been sent to the mayor for review. So the engineer and DPW reviewed, that big spreadsheet of potential projects. We sort of narrowed down to ones we thought were still possibility of happening, and sent that out to the mayor, and I have not had a chance to review it further with him. So I did, my deadline was to get him a list of projects by September, so I did do that.
Great.
So we'll see where it goes from there.
All right. Is there any sort of, when you pass on him, do you ask any sort of deadline with him or expectations of anything around that, or just, we're just waiting?
Yeah, so I'll, the next step would be to meet with him to decide which ones he would like to go forward with. Re-meet with engineering and DPW to further figure out what's doable. And then try to allocate those funds, try to, without a bid or something. Or if it's a more temporary project, then go through with the project management part, like, what do we actually have to buy, and, some more actual project management. So there's still multiple steps.
Something that triggered a memory for me, you can expect to see a lot of school zone speed signage, including the three, new ones that were added recently. So those will be, done right. And so some of our school zone signage is very inconsistent around the city. So this is aiming to fix that. But I just saw a purchase order for $20,000 to $30,000 worth of signs. I know DPW is going to be looking to install those in the next few weeks to maybe, a month.
Is that just around the three schools that are gonna?
Yeah, so there's the three major school zones were added. Kingston High School is getting school speed zones on three sides at 20 miles an hour. JFK School is getting school zones added on Delaware Avenue. Grove Street, and also one other. And then Bailey Watson Complex is getting school speed zones. Wait, don't quote me on that. Hang on, my memory's failing me here on what the third one was. It may not be Bailey Watson. I could look it up in my emails, tell you what that was, but those were new school zones as opposed to the ones that were already legislated around George Washington, which George Washington signage is largely pretty good, although there's some work to be done on Washington Avenue relative to that. JFK.
Okay.
Yeah, you look right now actually on these. I think I have it in my email. School zones.
I think there's a JFK, GW, Edison, and Bailey.
Mhm.
I think there's no only schools in the city.
Yeah, well, there is a school zone legislated for Kingston Catholic School on Lower Broadway. And there is
there's some discussion about early childcare places, but this is just schools.
yeah. Okay, let's see here.
Is this signage more reflective signage or is it?
Well, the reflectivity is required on all signs, but the standard now for these will be send yellow.
Okay.
Is the coloration, whereas your standard warning signs are yellow. It's orange, I think.
True. Okay.
Is there signage for the speed camera zones that sort of indicate that you're now?
There will be a plaque added that says photo enforced.
Okay.
I can tell you a little bit about that as well. We're in the final stages of a contract with Genoptic, which is the vendor that offers the speed camera. But I think that's still weeks to a couple months away to implementing.
Yeah, because I think it's slated for November implementation, right? Because I think that's what we heard.
Yeah, we had hoped to get it sooner, but the contract has proven a little difficult to negotiate.
And will that be operated by police or?
There is a human person has to verify each violation. Last I heard, that would be someone in the parking enforcement division, because it's not considered a criminal violation. It's more like a parking ticket. It's
Okay.
a civil.
It's a civil infraction.
Yeah.
But parking enforcement is operated out of the police department, right?
But parking enforcement here is in the comptroller's office.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
All right, okay.
Maybe it
So-
was deputized or something?
No, apparently you don't need to be a police officer to certify these violations.
There's a dying yellow jacket near your feet.
Okay.
Oh, he wants to say,
Yeah. Not a great move.
So,
If you squish them while they're outside, they let off some pheromones to get the rest of them this face. Yeah.
so seeming in the wall. No problem.
So don't kill them while they're outside and you're outside, in other words, right?
Yeah.
That's
You care outside of your
Yeah,
house.
yeah.
You have questions about the speed zone program? Fifth Street sent that letter, I think it was last month.
yeah.
Okay, we are doing it. So, Bailey. Yeah.
Great.
Those are the three really added, three, I'll call it Bailey, effectively one school, even though it's two. Kingston High School had no school zones, now it does.
You mentioned the Catholic school. That's right there.
It's already actually signed, but not very well, not properly.
Yeah.
It's legislated, has been for many years.
So yeah, let's move on then. Thanks. for all that. We have our clean mobility project letter of support. So I drafted that. I know EJ had given some feedback. But yeah, I'm happy to add whatever anyone thinks would help.
And I can answer
I-
any questions about the project.
I don't think I have any at this point, unless anyone else does. I feel like this has been in the works for so long, but maybe it's just sort of different iterations of the same idea.
Do you mind if I give the project?
No, of course.
So just a little bit of background, the city of Kingston applied to one NYSERDA planning grant, so the so WXY came up, has almost finished the plan for a shared mobility system that would probably be a rentable bike system for the city of Kingston. We went through a whole planning process with that. The final plan was due yesterday. They need a few more days. We should get it in just a couple of days. Meanwhile, NYSERDA has opened up a second round for a demonstration grant. That's what we are actively applying for at this time. Our hope would be that we would receive that funding in early 2026. And it would be for 3 years of funding to pilot out a rentable bike system in the city of Kingston. It would be 75 electric bikes, 25 pedal, 10 docking stations, basically along the Broadway spine, but uptown in the Rhonda, basically connecting the different neighborhoods. We would have different rentable cost levels, affordable, and then membership options. And then if anyone is involved in any of the benefit programs, they would get a reduced cost as well. So I believe it'll be quite affordable. They picked out the dock station locations based on what we thought would be the most beneficial to people who who don't have access to a vehicle or are in underserved neighborhoods. And then also thought about a system that would connect the 3 neighborhoods. I'm sure about that.
How many docking stations would there be?
10 docking stations in phase 1. So phase 1 would be the first 3 years. Then the thought would be that if that is proven to be successful, and that averages out to about 0.3 rides a bike a day. So we have sort of a goal post to try to get to, and that's based on other projects that have happened in other areas. That's sort of been their success rate is about 0.3 rides a bike per day. If we were to get to that in phase 1, then we have another about 10 or so docking stations that we would then roll out, and we would add in, I think it was another 50 to 100 bike spaces. So a phased approach that way. And then those additional docking stations were strategically thought about, including potentially DSS in the future, but bus hub that's outside of the city of Kingston. Phase 1, we're focusing on, we can only do the city of Kingston. In phase 2, we would just try to expand the service a little bit outside. But that includes coming up with agreements and it's much easier to focus on the city of Kingston because we kind of control that space.
One question for the bikes, are they considering adult tricycles?
So in phase 2, the consultants did some research about cargo bikes and some other additional bike structures. So we could include that in the phase 2.
But it will not be,
Not in phase 1. Phase 1, we're just trying to
okay,
have a simple
curious.
system. Yeah. So that, and just to see if people
because there are elderly people who would feel more comfortable on a trike than they would.
absolutely. And cargos would allow more shopping or
Yeah.
other, structures. And then also there are wheelchair bikes where it's a bike on the back and sort of a wheelchair in the front. And I love that. I've looked at those for years. I think it would be so fabulous if we had a couple of those, because then it's not necessarily, it's for all different abilities, people who can't walk quite as much. It expands the ability, which I just think would be so cool. So there would definitely be some engineering involved with how to incorporate that into the docking stations, but it's been done elsewhere. We could figure it out here. I have a flyer. The website has not been updated probably since the last time I've talked to you all about it, but soon when I get the final, the final plan is completed in the next day or two, I'll post it to that QR code.
The docking stations be on parking spaces or on sidewalks or both?
We're not at that level of detail at this point. We have 10 locations. Each one's a little different, of course. As you know, John, it all depends sort of on the environment that you put in it. We try to prioritize city parking lots because we control that property. But for example, the consultants are suggesting Walgreens down on Broadway by Rondout Savings Bank, because it is high visibility from Broadway. And if you're biking up Broadway, you want to see the next docking station as you're going along. That's a private business. I don't know if they'll allow it. Maybe they will. If that doesn't work out, then we'll do the newly acquired parking lot behind it that's next adjacent to the rail trail. So we sort of have a plan. It's like plan A, plan B. Well, and as we go through those 10 docking station locations, some are going to work out well. Some are probably will sort of work through.
So I know that there's ways to sort of track usage.
Yes.
I guess that's going to be a big part of the first couple of years, seeing what people do where, right, and then sort of expanding it based on sort of, I guess, heat maps or whatever.
So the way that it's been recommended to us to run the system is for the first 3 years, it's a public partnership model, which means for the most part, well, for this version, that means it's a hybrid between city controls it and a partner controls it. Mostly, we would have the mobility partner do most of that work. They would install the bike racks, they would maintain the bikes, they would charge the batteries, they reconfigure if bikes are all in the Rondout, route it back up or the opposite. They would do all that. In addition, they would run the software, the app. The city would maintain a reach. We would I would ask the YMCA bike program if they would be interested in some bicycle education and safety training. So my idea is that they would do the League of American Cyclists 101 courses, maybe, maybe up to 8 classes like that. And then maybe lead some group rides so people can try out the system with someone who's showing you how to do it. Then in addition to that, they do helmet giveaways and some other distribution. So that was coming up because you asked about the data. So that mobility partner has all the software. They do this in other places. So they've got the back end. They're already collecting all the data. I think each bike, the battery bikes have GPS, so you can sort of see which docking stations they're going to. There's a lot of data being collected. So you can really see where it's being used. You can recalibrate the system, and then next sort of wants all that data. So then we're going to be reporting to them.
Do you use your phone to access the device?
But we would also have a non-digital version option. So ideally, we would partner with a trusted partner like the library, the YMCA, we would have a laundromat, and that people could pay them cash when they would get a code to activate their bike. If that doesn't work out with those partners, we'll incorporate it somewhere into a department in City of Kingston, probably my department. So still some details. We haven't talked to our partners about doing that yet, but that's sort of what we're envisioning how it could work.
You're gonna go year round?
Yes, that's the goal. The mobility partner will shuttle at the dock,
Okay.
which is key because city staff does not want to do that.
They maintain them every day, is that the idea?
Yeah, I don't know the frequency of, but my understanding is that the mobility partner hires a full-time staff person that becomes a part of the company, gets benefits, which I think is really key. That person would be in charge of our system. So they would be charging the batteries, I don't know how often, but regularly. They would be recalibrating the system. If any bikes get taken out of the system, like put in a truck and be dumped in the town of Ulster, they go back and retrieve it, they fix it, they maintain it. So I like that there's sort of a full-time person that's in charge of maintaining the system. I think that's really key. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So rollout would be,
We got the grant. They say that the grant would start in early 2026. It takes a while for the city to get into contract for many of these things. So their timeline seems optimistic, but my goal would be that we would launch it by the summer.
okay.
I want to launch it in good weather,
Right.
at the beginning of good weather. I think their timeline is optimistic, but we'll try.
So also on the optimism, pessimism spectrum.
Yeah.
Question, if it doesn't work out,
Yeah.
if in 3 or 5 years, we're like, this doesn't seem like it's panning out the way we want it to. How able are we to exit from it to wind down the program?
With this grant, we would go, because the mobility partner sort of does it all for us. One of the mobility partners, we sort of are leasing the hardware and are sort of becoming owners of it over the years. So the biggest impact might be that we have sort of the hardware left over and the city would have to get rid of it somehow. My understanding is that some of the electric bikes, their lifespan is about 3 years, or up to 5 years maybe. So I don't know that there'll be much value in that afterwards. So for the most part, the mobility partner goes away. There's a little bit of hardware left over that the city. There's not a big impact. Also, I mentioned in the project, we're trying to do a little bit of an infrastructure project improvement. So that would be a positive impact. So even when this project is done, maybe Westbrook Lane. John and I haven't talked about it too much yet, but the idea is that there may be a sidewalk on the north side where there's not a sidewalk. Westbrook Lane is the connection between Uptown and the Hannaford parking lot. We think is a key connection in our community to services. So trying to improve that seems like a real viable connection missing gap. Another one is down by the Rondout, but it seems like there's some engineering issues there. So right now, Westbrook Lane seems the most viable as a part of this project to be improved. So do this whole program, it doesn't work out, it disappears, we still have that section improved.
Yeah, that's one. Yeah, that sort of question is like, do you, and this is very like speculative in your take, I guess, do you see this as something which will help unlock pedestrian and transit improvement funding or something which will net take up some of the funding space that we might otherwise have spent improving bike lanes, building, extending the green line. It's kind of it.
It feels more complicated than yes or no. So
Sure.
I don't think that it will take away funding that we might have used elsewhere because there is this sort of this grant that right now this grant opportunity was written specifically for this. It feels competitive and yet I feel like we're really well positioned to win it. So I don't know that we're gonna find another funding source that's gonna work as well for this program.
Yes, I mean like 5-10 years
Yeah.
ago. So continuing stream of funds that
Yeah.
will be.
So what I also see is that even if this program and it didn't work out, I think that it will impact a culture shift. I think that's the bigger impact. So even if it's not a success, some people will be using it. There'll be more bikes on the road. There'll be press and articles that'll go out about it happening, and there'll be more awareness about people walking and biking as a form of transportation. I think that that's the major culture shift to be positive. I don't know that it necessarily affects the availability of grants in the future, one way or the other. John, do you agree, or can you say that in a different?
Yeah, I think that you said it right.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm still learning about this, so.
But like
So-
in the grant world, it's not like
Right.
using this
But-
bucket means that another bucket closes.
But is it, so NYSERDA's involvement is, in other words, sometimes these types of things come to a large city just on their own.
Yeah.
And they're financially viable because it's a big city with a lot of users,
Yeah,
right? We don't have that.
right, like when they come,
So-
they want to set up. shop.
NYSERDA's kind of subsidizing
Yes,
whatever vendor ultimately responds to this for the first 3 years.
Is it a gradual
And then-
spend down with the 3 year?
But what could happen, I guess, if this thing's a huge success, is that vendor now then looks at it and says, oh, well, we want to, even after the end of this, we want to stay in Kingston because we can make money,
yes.
right?
Or there's different models. So after that 3-year model, we could redo the contract and the city could run more of it in-house, for example.
Yeah.
So there's all these different options. And your question is, does the grant?
Or is it, so you're fully funded, is it fully funded all 3 years, or is it funded the 3rd year, drop 2nd year, drop 3rd year?
I would say it's fully funded 3 years, but with a 20% funding match. So the
Every
city
year?
had, the whole, the.
For the entire,
For
for
the
the, for the
you have to pay
life
20% of the total.
of the total, okay.
The total is like 1.3 million. 20% is I think 270,000. The way we were constructing this project, that 270,000 would go towards the infrastructure improvement.
All right.
That's very typical to have the 20% match. for-
Yeah, I just was curious, sometimes with grants, they're funded for the first year and then they come down and you have to, but that's all, okay,
Yeah, this is that structure that I've experienced with other.
okay.
So that's the total for the 3 years, or is that per year?
The 1.3 is total for 3 years. It's like 8 something. Okay, I'm not gonna quote that.
Right, but then 1.2 is for the 3 year.
Are you envisioning any sort of educational components when you're signing up to say like, please ride in the street, please ride in
Yes.
bike lanes?
Yes, so in the app, I don't know, I've done experienced this maybe in
Yeah.
PC most recently when I did the share is like when you scan the code, it comes up and it's like, you're gonna follow the rules, right? And you
Yeah.
click a box that say,
Of
also
course.
this sue you, it's all these
Yeah.
things, so that's part of it.
Yeah,
But then I don't, if you heard me say that, I can talk more about it. I think it's really important that we do some education, the education
Yeah.
component. So that's why I want the YMCA bike program to do some of that in-person
yeah.
opportunities.
And I just think of like community buy-in, if you have people on e-bikes on the sidewalk, like everyone's just gonna hate it.
Yeah.
So just work.
It might happen.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the streets are safe.
Up and down Broadway, yeah.
Yeah.
On the sidewalk.
It's also happening already.
Mm-hmm.
It's complicated.
I was thinking that a good place to do the docking stations could be in the Broadway buffer zone. But then I was thinking about like snow plowing, all that stuff complicates it, but like it'd be a great way of almost like having, tactical urbanism.
Yeah.
By having the station in somewhere where you can't just turn early. No, I might just hit the stations also, which would be good.
We were looking at the post office park area.
Mhm.
And
Yes, perfect.
the consultants were sort of envisioning it sort of kind of in it, but kind of by Post Office Park, by Dallas South Wieners, the
Mhm.
intersection. And the mayor was really concerned that if people are getting on their bike right there, that they're gonna back into traffic, start going from that intersection. It felt uncontrolled. So I don't know that we'll be able to do it in the intersection there.
I think around where the chess tables are, where the,
Yeah.
I think there's like plans to kind of have, food trucks or something.
So there's other options in that space. We'll probably do something in that area, but the engineer, of course, will have to help us decide that. But DPW, I think, will give us feedback on the streetscape because they ultimately kind of control the roads. So there's a lot more details there, but safety is our biggest concern. So we'll try to think that all through, but also want it to be visible, to use.
Yeah, that's exciting. And obviously, anyone can take a look at this letter, to give feedback, just,
Yeah. So my ask is, I'm asking, well, the city's asking Complete Streets to sign this letter of support. I need it by the 18th. Where the grant application is on the 25th. I really think that this will increase a viable transportation option for residents in the city of Kingston, so I hope we'll support it.
yeah, I think the idea of baking in discounts at different levels is really important. I talked with some neighbors about that idea. Yeah. It's exciting. I like the idea of there being more people out and about on bikes, hopefully it's all mess. Should we set like a deadline maybe? When do you want this sort of letter of support?
I'd love it signed by the 18th, by the 18th,
Okay.
so that's next week, next
Yeah.
week.
Did this already go over? I don't remember
Yeah.
seeing it.
Yeah. Did it not?
I saw the other letter.
The other letter?
For the UCAT, but I
Okay.
don't remember seeing.
All right, maybe I didn't send this over out. I meant to. Sorry. It was, yeah.
It's not very clear.
Yeah.
You motion to.
Should we vote on it?
Well, everyone's seen it.
I mean,
Yeah, fair enough.
We can vote by. I'll send it around. Everyone can kind of have it a couple days. Yeah, if you don't need to last.
Yeah, I'll go to the 18th, but I really need it by the 18th.
Okay.
Don't scare me.
All right, the next letter was about the UCAT changes. And, yeah, EJ gave some comments. There's more dramatic stuff. I think she went back and added some more even, so I haven't accepted all of them, but,
They were just copy editing things.
okay, yeah.
Nothing major, yeah.
But I left open, the sort of like list of our actual sort of thoughts on it. I did leave open because I saw, there are a lot of emails going around about it. And I don't know necessarily the details of the concern with the routes and what else there might be. Ella sent me, item number 2 about converting more of the driver roles to full-time. But I was thinking, do we want to get into like our other concerns we might have at UCAT? Like one thing I always have is that there aren't sort of really established stops. But I was like, is that sort of not what we're discussing at this moment? Like, are we just talking about the change that they implement to the future? So yeah, I mean, if you want to get into all the things you don't like about UCAT, it could be a very, very long letter. I don't know if that's just kind of diluting the points that we want to get across to them now. Like, point number 1 being the bus hub, which I think is something a lot of people are upset about.
Was any of that transmitted before it kind of came out that they were changing it? I mean, it seemed a surprise to me that.
I think it surprised the people who pay attention to that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it just seemed to me, I can understand that, the Hannaford's, the Herzogs, that it is a little congested down there, but it's like where they want to put it doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, whether the merchants there like it or not, I mean, it's kind of convenient with the fact that people can if you're shopping or go to the bathroom or do whatever. I mean, if you're out at DSS, what do you do?
Right, and also just
And-
notices that everyone on the bus needs DSS. It's kind of what.
Well, that I didn't even want to get there. It's like, well, why didn't you pick, like, not everybody who rides the bus wants to go to social services or needs to go to social services.
Right. It seems to be taken away from something that I've always wanted to be is a more useful bus network for everyone. And it seems like it's getting further and further away from that.
And that's the way I would feel. I feel about it. I mean, I haven't used the bus because it has not been for me as a vision impaired person. It just where it stopped at made no sense, and just the whole trying to get around. But I would definitely be way more hesitant if the hub is at DSS. I'm like, why don't I want to go there? I don't want to go.
I have no skin in this game, I have no control over it whatsoever, just my disclaimer. But I do feel like I want to clarify. I think the county just needed a place where the buses can have that connector to all the different routes. And so I don't think there was an assumption that everyone needed DSS. I think it was that the county owned that property. It's like the largest property that could possibly handle the amount of bus traffic, and that someone could get off one bus and get onto another. So I just want to push back on that. I don't think it was an assumption that everyone needed DSS there.
Right.
I think it just was.
But are there facilities? I mean, okay, I get that it's a large enough space. But my thing is there a public facility? I mean, is there a bathroom there?
Public buildings.
Yeah, but that's an office building. That is not. No, I hear what you're saying. It's a public building, but it's not necessarily designed for what could happen. I guess what I'm thinking about
The problem is that nothing exists. Because there is no owned bus terminal.
and are they going?
Hanford is not.
Let me get this straight. I don't think Hanford's the proper place either. I'm just saying that there are certain things that are built in inherently because there are facilities there. You could go to the grocery store, you could grab a sandwich, you could do this simply because, not that people will always do that, but it's kind of like a shopping center, and a lot of bus routes in a lot of other cities and other places are centered around a shopping center.
It was a great location. The county should have negotiated a contract with the owners.
All that is true.
I mean, this is on the county.
All that is true, and if the county wants to change it, but my question is, okay, so you want to make the hub on property that you own. Are you going to put in shelters? Are you going to put in something that makes it like a bus transportation area? I don't necessarily have a problem with it being at DSS. I have a problem with it being kind of like, okay, so the bus is late. What are you standing under? What are you doing? How long are you going to be standing out there? I mean, there is some kind of shelter at Hanford right now.
Well, I think.
There is a
I
bus
mean,
shelter at the complex.
they would like to keep it there. It's just been I mean, they had to change. Like it wasn't, I don't think, an option that they really wanted to look at. It was the owner of Hanford said, you can't do this anymore.
Actually, he was never asked. He went into the press and said no one ever asked him if the buses could do that. Now, whether that's truth or not, it was in one of the articles, which was kind of astounding because hasn't it been going on for a decade or something? Quite a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, he has the right to say no. I was kind of shocked because they've got a huge amount of parking space. They could have negotiated with the city for another section. I actually use that grocery store. I live near, I'm in Midtown, and go to Herzog's and I go to Hannaford's and the Chinese place and all that. I sometimes shop at night and like at 8 or 9. Now, this is very interesting. When I first moved here, they did not close the side doors into the big parking lot that is where the buses wait. About a year ago, they started closing those doors at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. So you had to go around the other side, which is, facing the other section, not where the buses are. I don't know if it correlated to more of the activity. It may have been about the time when the free bus rides happened. I didn't really pay attention to it. I just knew that if I came at 8 o'clock, I needed to park around on the other side. So I don't know if that was part and parcel of it, but it didn't used to be that way. And then all of a sudden it was. So it was only those set of doors. So I did ask one of the clerks and they said, oh, it's because of security or something. I didn't press it because at the time, this was months ago, I didn't know anything about this kind of issue. But it may be that that has become a big deal for them with their customers, Hannaford and everybody else. I'm really upset that the county is just saying we're going to put this in a place that is so inaccessible to so many people without even saying, let's figure out a place and maybe get the funds to do a bus terminal. So, I mean, whatever we can do to push this and get more funding or figure out a better way, I'm all for it.
Well, there was an op-ed in the Daily Freeman by somebody who suggested the county buy the old Kia Romeo on Schwenk Drive and turn that into a bus terminal. Because there's a car dealership, it's already got a restroom, it's already got an automobile repair shop, and a large parking lot. So that's one suggestion. I guess the county could look at.
It doesn't seem, but that shortage of places, just like, is the county gonna buy them or?
Well, it's gonna take time.
Yeah, it's you're gonna have to build it, so either way.
And there's gonna have to be a hub in the interim.
Do we still have our county guest on? Thanks, Sean.
Thanks.
Chris, are you still on? Yeah, Chris, I don't know if you're listening in, but if you have the insight, it would be helpful.
I don't, not too much insight. I've been keeping up with the situation as best I can. What I would suggest is that we here at UCTC, along with UCAT and our consultant, are doing a route optimization plan, which we're going to be presenting to the public in October, and it's also on the Participate Ulster page. So if you want to put public input into what the new routes are going to look like, that whole thing, that's a great vehicle for public involvement. And the changes that UCAT is putting in place right now, not just the hub, but the route changes are not actually a part of that. So this is our project is a step further down the road. So what they're doing now is not necessarily what it's going to look like in the future. So I would suggest just keeping an eye out for that and definitely making your voice heard there in the Participate Ulster page and the public meetings associated with the route optimization plan. That's happening in the background right now.
All right. Well then, yeah, I guess everyone, take a look at this letter, add anything you think, and we can maybe also finalize that and just get sent off. So at least, I think, the issue really seems to be the thing that's really getting people worked up the most, I think, is the hub. And the routes, like he says, they're not even finalized at this point, so I don't know if anyone has any comments about that, but I know Ella is quite involved with the issue. I don't think she ended up joining, but yeah, if there is anything else related to UCAT that we can add to the letter, feel free to make a note or just add it.
Chris just sent the link to the Participate Ulster page.
Chris, do you know if the county is looking at any other options for a hub?
I don't have any real insight into that, unfortunately. I've heard, like you did at the op-ed, they want to, suggestions about the buying the old Kia dealership thing. But no, I don't have any insight into that, unfortunately. This is more of a UCAT issue specifically, so.
Right.
I know it's not a satisfying answer, but I'm not super well. We're not super well appraised of what's going on either. So.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
I appreciate you coming today, Chris. Thank you for the information you do have.
Yeah, it'll be good to get something to the county just to sort of give our feedback on at least what we know so far anyway. So, work to get that done. All right, I think that was it really for the agenda, more or less. So, you can look at the sort of
When you're ready for it, I got an announcement.
Okay. Yeah.
Wait, are you sending the letter? Or are you taking out the last two items? Or are we waiting? Ruth
I'll-
suggested.
Yeah, I'll see if anyone has anything they really want to add, but as we just heard, the route suggestions aren't finalized yet anyway, so I think the best way to give feedback would be to do it directly to the county via the link that was sent. But yeah, in terms of, if you do have other suggestions for our list of items we want to bring to the county, feel free to add them.
Okay, so I'm confused. We're not sending this letter now?
No, not right now.
Okay,
We'll
great.
send
That's, I missed that in the conversation. So
Yeah.
great. Okay, thanks.
Still open for feedback and additions.
Great.
All right. Yeah. Did you have updates on the meeting coming up next month?
No, what I wanted to, I just wanted to advertise our Grow Well Garden Tour this Saturday via bicycle. Anyone's interested in joining us? We will have a lot of Spanish interpretation. And you don't have to bike. The first 5 gardens are walkable. Who's interested, please join Grow Well for their garden tour this Saturday.
There's a list of the gardens.
Yeah, and that's the time that we'll be there. So if you have a favorite garden, you can just join us at that one if you'd like, or you can come and see all of them. Just FYI, there is more gardens than we are visiting. We've kind of selected the ones we wanted to try to give some love to this year.
All right. So just looking at where the one road there is, it's great.
It's by the Housing Authority. If you're on the Green Line and you're going down East Point Rail Trail Phase 1, it's the garden that you.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah.
That's the Ronda Garden.
Great. All right.
The last thing on the agenda was to go into executive session about the 2.
Yes. There's no updates on the, I was gonna say, are we gonna meet before the Empire State Greenway Conference? I think we might have one more meeting. So,
Yes, you got one more video for that.
yeah.
And I hear that the lead speaker is Jeanette Sedney Khan. She's the woman responsible for all the icons in New York City.
Yeah.
60 different plazas. I think she's really dedicated.
All
I'm
right.
excited to see her.
And who is that open to? Is that the
I
conference?
think
Yeah, okay.
it's targeted for people who are trying to improve rail trails in New York State. It's Parks and Trails New York is the host, and everybody is welcome.
Okay.
I believe that there's still tickets available at the Best Western in Kingston.
Yeah, so it's just down
Come
the
to
road.
us.
Yeah, I know, that's exciting. All right, great. All right, so I believe we are gonna go into executive session now. So. Dave, I have to ask that you leave.
And I'm gonna stop the
Yeah.
live. Actually, and Chris, if you don't mind, we'll say thank you to you as well. But Elizabeth, you can stay on.
Thanks.
Where's the
Leave? Yeah, I guess